Welcome to First Try, your Filipino martial arts hub with people, events, styles, and techniques. Today, we're going to feature Yasai Sable. Yasai Sable is the style of Aranese practiced in Bago City. And Bago City is known as one of the dominant places of Aranese, not only in the local, regional, but also in the national level. So in today's episode, we will be featuring the master of Yasi Sable from Bago himself, Grandmaster Randy Alvarado, and of course, the head or the coach of the winningest team in Negros Occidental, Master Brian Mertier. So, I'm your host, Ferdinand, and with me is our co-host, Dr. Paulo Motita. Doctor, good morning. It's nice to have you back again here on First Try.
Yes, good morning, GM Bot. Good morning to our viewers. Thank you very much once again. So we are here, but before that, I would like to say thank you to our sponsors. So we have Jika, Seaoil, and the Tumandok. So this time again, it's another exciting episode wherein we are going to feature another martial arts or Filipino martial style from mostradors in Negros Occident in Negros and
Wow.
Negros sorry
Yeah.
so Negros and Bacolod. So this time I'm sure our viewers will be lucky enough because our the same procedure another mostradors will be showing we will going to discuss about their styles, their way of training, how effective we're training us, and of course they can also learn because our guest our guest for today will be showing some of their, shall we say, signature moves
Mm-hmm.
of the Yasay Sabli style from Bago City. So, what's the beauty of our program, Jimbot, is we're not just simply talking and talking here. We're actually showing the best of the best of our grandmasters, our unsung heroes from our countryside, especially Negros, because we understand Negros as a vast of rich of our talents in terms of Filipino martial arts. Okay, I am actually excited to see and to hear the interviews of Grandmaster Alvarado in his company. Okay, Sir Bot?
Yes. So anyway, this is Yasay Sable, and actually it is one of the this is one of the blade-based styles here in
Oh,
Negros. And
it's a blade orientation, yeah?
yes, yeah. That's why if you notice, I would just like to give a little background there, Doc. If
Correct,
you
correct.
notice, Yasay Sabidors, they have light strikes
Oh,
because an essential part of their style is the use of the blade, which is very
correct.
sharp. So the traditional or the combative practitioners of Yasay Sable, usually if you put them into like a live stick or padded stick, you'll find out they have very, very soft strikes because
Yes, yes,
they're
exactly.
used to, because they use usually those light blades, which we
Correct.
call the sable.
So,
So because sable,
yes, yes, sir. But because we understand that if you use blade either in actual fight, not necessarily you are going to use force. The important is to hit, and you know you cannot just simply strike the blades in full force, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because the weight of the blade itself, and you can easily maneuver something. So in here we can see the difference between the use of the live stick or the sticks itself into the blade part. So because some of the discussions discussions outside the Philippine martial arts, what is the best, where is the best, and who is the best, I think it's firmly based on how you use the weapon, not necessarily the stick or the blade itself. Of course, the blade is number one, but of course there are some cautions on how to use the blade. The same thing with the stick. Okay, so stick needs fast strikes, while blade needs snap but light. In stick, you need force, lots
Yeah,
of force in the speed, but in the blade, sometimes you need to be light, and of course, because blades needs a lot of slashing motion. Okay?
I agree with you.
So
And of course, in keeping with the demands of the time, and of course, the principle of Grandmaster Presence, as we said last week, our needs should be fun. That's why you also have to adapt and get to use padded sticks
yes,
and
correct.
yeah, so that our needs will be more enjoyable and will become a popular martial art and martial sport in the Philippines.
Correct, correct. So this time I can't wait anymore for
Yes,
our first interview. I'm sure
you.
at least you have a lot of time, Jim, but going to our friends there, the mostradors,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I
Okay.
can't wait to
Sige.
go already
Anyway,
in Negros. Yes.
yes, yes. Okay, so let's now go to our interview with Grandmaster Randy Alvarado. Hi, welcome to First Strike. In this episode, we will be featuring Yasay Sable, and with us is the person responsible for spreading Yasay Sable not only in Bago City but all throughout the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Grandmaster Randy Alvarado.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Grandmaster
afternoon,
Randy.
sir.
Okay, let's get to know the man. Let us know. Let's get to know who is Grandmaster Randy Alvarado. Perhaps you can tell us what other styles of arnis you have learned so that we can also share it with our viewers.
Oh, I started learning arnis from my uncle. Way back then, I believe I was in the grade 5.
You were in grade 5 then. So you started young. And
Yes.
what style of
Oh,
arnis?
we call that sinamak. It's halo-halo style.
Oh, that's why sinamak. Actually, sinamak is a vinegar concoction with a lot of ingredients in it. So, I believe sinamak is, excuse me, a style of arnis with many substances in it. Okay, so, but what are the distinct characteristics of sinamak? Perhaps you'd like to share it with us.
Oftentimes, we practice during the full moons only.
Why?
Usually, my uncle was drunk. My grandfather was also drunk. I asked them why we practice during the full moons, and they would tell me that to keep the style for our own only, not to share the style to other people.
So here, you see, there is still that Filipino attitude that arnis is a very familiar thing. It is only shared with family members. And what other styles did you learn other than sinamak?
Then I continued learning arnis till the day I have come to know the very person in front of me, Ferdinand Emmanuel Gayoles.
Okay, perhaps you'd like to share with our viewers your insights or your thoughts about Yasay Sable. For you, what is Yasay Sable as a style? Perhaps you'd like to describe it.
There are so many styles I have encountered and have known in my life as an arnisador. But one thing that I call such something that is unique about Yasay Sable is that it is based on bladed weapon.
So the concentration of the style is more for its use as a bladed fighting art.
Yes, bladed.
Fighting art. Because I believe that previous practitioners of Sable were more concerned on the combative aspects.
Yes.
Okay. But if you were to describe Yasay Sable, because I don't want to put my 1 cent's worth because it's better that it comes from you, no? What do you think are the distinct styles that make it different from other styles that you have encountered? What are the practices in Sable that you saw which only happens in Sable?
If I were to summarize, I can give only 3 because I tend to hold some. But the very basic that I can give you is, for me, Yasay Sable is speed.
Speed, concentration of speed.
Yes, speed, deception,
Deception or stealth.
and accuracy.
Accuracy. So how, like in your case, you emphasize speed, accuracy, and stealth. Like how do you develop speed?
this is one thing that I really admire about Yasi Sable because it applies the scientific way of understanding something.
Body movements.
Yes, for example, when we speak of speed, it goes with the idea that the longer the distance is, the longer the time that you need.
Yeah, to make a hit.
Yes. So in Yasay Sable, we concentrate on cutting the distance. For example, if you would allow me, shall we say this is Bacolod? I'm here, Bago. So that would be approximately
kilometers.
21.5 or 22 kilometers away. So most people, arnisadors, and even players would situate or hold their stick like this. So if I were to adjust and assist that one, that could be 5 kilometers away from the base.
From the center. Okay.
Yes. And this is where Yasay Sable is very unique.
So
Why? Because most people would strike the head. So that is the longer distance.
yeah, if
When this one is shorter, the hand. So, Yasay Sable, though deadly, still it has the principle that you don't need to kill your opponent right away when you can maim or stop the possible fight right away by hitting,
Or injuring.
striking, injuring the hands, taking the fingers of your opponent.
So here you see, in Yasay Sable, they emphasize that the nearest weapon to the nearest target.
Yes.
They do not want to prolong the fight.
Yes.
Based on what Grandmaster Randy said, he says that Yasay Sable tries to exploit whatever target is presented and immediately tries to hit it.
Yes, that is
With
called
what-
speed.
Speed. Okay. Now let's go to accuracy. How do you develop accuracy?
Oh, in my practice and experience, accuracy can be best developed by practice.
And when we say practice, do you mean drills or sparring?
Drills, especially sparring.
Like in your practice, GM, like how many percent is devoted to drills? And
Oh.
how many percent is devoted to sparring?
I cannot give the exact number, but I believe 98 to 99% is more on practice,
Was sparring or drills?
sparring.
Sparring. So here you can see that in Yasay Sable, I think for them, they believe that for you to achieve efficiency of the art, you really have to spar.
Yes, the application.
Yeah, because that's where you develop
Yes.
action, application,
Yes.
and through continuous practice, you develop your own style and your own responses to
Yes.
different attacks. So that is, I think, one of the reasons that they also excel. It's because of the effort that they try to spend on sparring. So if you look at it, based on what GM said, Yasay Sable is play-based, and secondly, it is sparring-based. Now let's talk about sparring. When you spar, is it armored or is it with live sticks? Without armor.
Live sticks.
You practice live sticks.
Yes, I started with my picture with live sticks. Actually, I have the mark here.
You must have had a
I
very
have the mark.
You must have had a very cruel teacher then. Okay. So anyway, that was how Arnis was taught then. You know, when we were practicing Yasay Sable, that it was more of the traditional method
Yes.
of teaching. And you know, one thing special with our visitor, Sir Randy is not only an alisador, he is an educator. So other than his skill in Arnis, he has many teaching strategies and teaching methods which he applies to Arnis. By the way, GM Randy has a master's in English, specialized also in literature and
Literature.
grammar. No? So that's why
Literature is my forte.
I can say that he is a well-rounded man. When we come back, no, we will still have one more concern. Accuracy and speed and
Deception.
deception. By the way,
It is
what,
deception.
what is deception?
For me, deception is when you make your opponent think the other way around. For example, if you want to strike this one, strike this one. So make your opponent think that you're going to hit this one, but actually you hit this one. You hit this one, but actually you strike this one.
So you make many combinations.
Yes.
And you try to program the thought process
Yes.
of your opponent, making him think one thing
Yes.
when in fact you're going to do another thing.
Grandmaster, you see the three components I shared, they are just like cycles.
Cycles.
They are parts of a coin. They go around, they move around. So the first stage of their speed. But if you have deception, definitely you have speed. When you have accuracy, definitely you have speed. So for example, when you speak of deception, your opponent is settled at one point.
He's preparing in
Yes,
one area.
he's preparing that point. And then your strike hits the other point.
Another area.
So,
So-
how can that person guard himself? When, even in boxing, that is very true, that the most powerful strike a boxer can receive is the one that he less expected.
Okay, so here with deception, Grandmaster Randy is actually trying to exploit the hundreds and hundreds of possible areas and combinations in order to create an opening against the opponent.
Yes.
It makes him think one thing when in fact he's planning to do another thing. So again, speed, accuracy, deception, and a lot of sparring.
That's what I call that. If your opponent is fast, then make him slow.
Make him slow.
How?
How?
Use deception.
Use deception. So with deception,
If
I
I were
think-
given a chance, I would show it.
we'll go to that in
Yes,
our
yes.
techniques when we come back. Stay with us. When we come back, we will have more of GM Randy.
Okay, sir, you're mute. Okay, so thank you very much. That's our initial interview with our guest. Yeah, it's a very, I think, one thing that I will remember from the discussion was he said the speed, accuracy, I think, accuracy
Yes,
and discipline.
accuracy and deception. Yeah.
That's
They-
one
they-
thing that we should one thing that we should understand how the this style are completely doing their training or their practice to become more effective. Yes,
Yeah.
sir, but
Yeah, if you notice, sir, like what they practice, they incorporate a lot of fakes.
yes,
Because,
yes.
yeah, they really incorporate a lot of fakes and feints. And of course, they also, if you notice later on when they start, they like to hit the legs also.
Okay, correct.
Yeah.
So
They like
before
the limbs. The limbs, they like to hit the hands here. I think which is a legal target also in tournaments. When I was there, GM Paul, I noticed that they're really very fast in hitting the limbs. The forearm
yes.
and the legs, yeah, they seem to like it a lot, and they're also fast in withdrawing. So they
Uh,
hit and they withdraw.
I think they believe in the art of fighting, which is we call it first is you have to destroy first then focus on the weapon first, because once you destruct the weapon, and be it that's your time, that's your turn. So I'm sure. I think for the blades fighting and the actual blade fighting, we usually do the same. We do the
Yeah, yeah.
destruct first, and of course maybe paralyze the hands that are actually using the weapon. But to have that further discussion, Diembot, I just want to to read some of our viewers here,
Yes.
like Charmin Umali, Angelo Dulay, Sir Bambit Dulay, thank you for watching. Mike Dorado, thank you for watching. Of course, our guest, Randy Dorado, Alvarado, Grandmaster. Mother Alice Tapi Tapi in San Juan, Fernando Tinagan, our avid followers. We have shout out to Fritz Octaviano from Sir Randy. And of course, we have a lot here who was watching. So again, as we continue with our, I think the next video will show us how the Yasai Sabli are doing their training rights. And sorry, sir, but another is of course my friends, my from Dubai. I mean UAE, say Master Ginalyn Relos, and of course from US we have Master Rodolfo Poblacion, Grandmaster Nitong Son, and a lot more of our viewers. Of course, our boss, Sir Tony Aguirre, from US. Okay, so maybe later we will shout out those or not mention as of now. Okay, so let's
Yes.
continue, Sir Bot.
Oh, by the way, one of the principle I remember is the old master Paterno Yasay and Guillermo Yasay. They're really very fond of saying, always respect the blade of your opponent.
Yes, yes. Okay, so
Respect always. Because, sometimes there are people who are so risky, they want to make a hit, and in the process, they also get hit. So,
correct.
in a real fight, both of you could be dead if that's what happens. That's why, before you hit the person, respect his blade first.
Restrain, yeah.
Yes, and find ways that you're the only one making the hit, and the other one is the only one getting hit.
Correct,
So,
correct. So that's the
yeah,
first, that's the objective actually. That's the first objective. Every fighter actually is, that's their objective. Mainly, of course, to stop, in order for to stop immediately the fight. So get first the weapon.
yes. And by the way, lastly, Doc Pao, if you notice, Grandmaster Alvarado, he was holding a very slender stick there. It's made of coffee and sometimes very light tula-tula. I asked him, why do you still use it? Because you have padded sticks. He said sometimes, as long as there's no hitting in the head, which is also risky though, he tells me it really helps the kids in their speed, especially when they're sparring and they get stung a little.
Yeah.
May konting tama. Sabi niya, ang bilis talaga, magpabilis niyan.
Yes.
So,
Actually, it's a form of training your wrist and the muscles of the arm
yeah.
because the lightness at the same time you're actually showing training your hands, your wrist to do a fast strike. So
Yeah.
that's
So,
basically the purpose. Yes.
yeah. So I think we'll go back to his next interview. I think he's going to show us some of their tools and their techniques also.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Hi! Welcome back to our episode on Yasai Sable with Grandmaster Randy Alvarado. Right now here, we have different equipments that is used in Yasai Sable. I was briefed by Grandmaster Randy Alvarado that this is the typical Yasai Sable. Now if you notice, it's very sharp, it's pointed. And unlike the ginunting who had that scissor-like shape, this one is tapered at the hilt. It goes bigger in the middle and again tapered at the point. It is very sharp. And it's also very light, very easy to wield. Now, Grandmaster Randy told me that Yasai Sabridors strike lightly. Why? Because in Yasai Sable, the weapon is part of the art. You should have a very, very sharp weapon like this Yasai Sable and a very pointed one so that it's easy to wound your opponent without much effort. I was also briefed by GM Randy that the traditional Yasai Sabridors, whether it's Bahi, no, or Kamagong, the shape of their strikes are the shape of their sticks are wedged. Unlike most arnis, it's circular.
Yes.
In Yasai Sable, it is wedged.
Yes.
It has a big surface area, so despite its being light, when you get hit, it tends to be very debilitating. It's still a deadly weapon in the hands of an accomplished sablidor. So here we have Kamagong, is wedged, again thick in the middle, thin, going up to the point, but it is wedged. So this is Kamagong, and this one is here. And these ones are made of bahay. They are still a wedge. This is kind of heavy, and this will easily break bone. This is another weapon used by sabridors for combative purposes. Now here with Sir Randy, we have other sticks used in Yasay Sable. Sir, perhaps you'd like to share with us what these sticks are.
Oh, this is for combative purpose.
This one is still bahay.
This is just an example of the type or kind in the olden time. Designed with that is rigid, it is wedge, then somehow thick to thinner. To the
And
point,
this one here is a little bit sharpened.
yes.
So this is bahay. Now, this can still be a very deadly weapon. No? This can cause wounds and can easily break bones. So this is bahay, and I presume this has been crafted by you.
Yes.
This one, okay. And what are those other sticks that you use?
This one is for practice. For practice purposes, if you can observe still, it has the same rationale. So thicker, heavier on
The bottom,
yes,
Lighter
then
at the
lighter at the tip, then somewhat pointed for stabbing purposes.
this is made from
Coffee.
coffee.
This is coffee stick.
Yeah, and of course this one is the standard.
Yes, this is the standard padded stick.
That is for competition.
Yes, for competition.
How about this tool?
This we use for live sticks competition, like the week up.
We cut. Okay. Live sticks, no
Yes.
armor? No armor?
With armor.
Head only.
Yes, with anchor and body armor.
Okay. So these are the sticks, these are the equipments typical of Yasay Sable. Again, if you notice, the sticks that they use are kind of unique. It is wedged and it's usually 31 inches long. I
Yes,
think the standard is 29.
28, 29.
Yes. And if you notice,
I use the 32 to 33 inches to have the edge of 4 inches for stabbing.
yeah. And if you notice, ladies and gentlemen, here, look at the length. The length of their sticks is the same as the length of the
Yes.
Yasay Sable. This is the standard length of the Yasay Sable stick and sword. Okay, now, Grandmaster Randy, we would just like take a pause, and I think you're going to show us some of your drills.
Yes.
No? When we come back, Sir Randy is going to show us drills of Yasay Sable. Okay, so we will just come back.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah. So those are the equipments, Doc Pao. Now, about the stick, usually, what they use is the wedge. Again, I would just like to emphasize, di ba, yung mga rattan, usually, tsaka live stick natin, circular.
Yes, yes.
Sila, mahilig sila gumamit ng wedge, yung parang ganun. Parang,
Yes, yes.
parang
Palapad
diamond.
Yes,
Palapad.
like, palapad, yes.
But they seldom spar with it because it's very painful. That's why
Correct.
they use the light coffee sticks.
So maybe they're just using it for for feeling the weight of
Yeah.
the weapon itself. The actual
More of
course.
keeping up with the form siguro na.
Yes, exactly. So they are just using it for practicing mostrador or mostration, or we call it showmanship. So without opponent or without partner, because we understand, number one, the weight itself. Number two, when you hit, it's very painful and very dangerous. That is why, as a form of their substitute, they use even padded sticks. Because
Padded
padded sticks
sticks.
sometimes, when you practice, you just continue practicing without an opponent. Sometimes it's useless. That's a purpose. While
Yeah.
we do practice with the padded sticks, right?
Yeah. And by the way, Dr. Here in Babo, I noticed these barangay tanods here. Instead of rattan, I noticed that many of the people here in Negros are really fond of coffee sticks because they say it's very durable.
Correct. Because
Yeah.
I understand coffee stick is not easy to broke, right?
Yeah.
Other hardwood. You know, even Kamagong, sometimes if you use it for practice, sometimes if you hit both a Kamagong, one will be broke. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think coffee sticks is durable because, of course, they have or the texture inside the coffee stick is can absorb the heat itself. So that's why even in tapado we use it as a best
Yeah. Stick.
training sticks, training weapon. In fact, it's not actually a training sticks. It can be used also as a weapon because
Mhm.
when you hit, it's very hard. That's
Yeah.
that's that's why. So again, thank you very much to our viewers. I've seen
Mhm.
here some of our viewers like Dennis Santos from Palawan. Thank you, thank you. Also Romulos Gallardo from Bago City, Mylian Alvarado, Fritz Octaviano, of course, Romulo Gallardo already, and Romel Revilla, of course, our boss Tony Aguirre, Sir Bambit Dulay, and the rest of the viewers. Thank you very much for watching. Please do watch us until the end of this program.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure.
Because Sir Alvarado will be showing us some of their techniques also.
Correct.
I think
That's
in our next video, he will be showing us some of the traditional techniques of sableng,
okay.
which they
Good. It's
use
very
in tournament.
yes, yes. So this time, we can see some styles again. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's see it.
We will now show you the basic drills of Yasi Sableng. This drill is a blocking drill which develops eye contact, focus, and reaction time of saboteurs. Okay? So, one. So there you have it. This is one of the drills taught to me by GM Randy. It is used for developing endurance also.
Endurance, holding
Now,
sticks,
I understand.
optical illusion.
Yeah, okay. So now you can teach me one block and one strike. Let's do one block and one strike.
Shortcut.
There you just saw the defense and offense moves by Sir Randy Alvarado. This time, he's going to show us another traditional drill wherein the attacker gives 2 strikes and the defender will give 2 counter attacks. Okay. So those are just some of the basic strikes of sableng. If you notice, in a fight sometimes, your opponent gives you 2 attacks and Grandmaster Randy counters. Now, what are you going to do next, Grandmaster Randy?
I would like to show some of the
Louder?
ways. I would like to show some of the ways how deception
Oh, deception.
is applied and realized.
Okay.
But can I take some air?
Okay, so when we come back, we'll have more of Grandmaster Randy.
Okay. So
Grandmaster Randy there ran out of some gas.
that's right. So I think as we show, I mean, as we see with as we are watching with the styles or techniques, basic. I think that's the initial basic techniques that you are showing.
Yeah.
Just to remind, as the orientation is blade, right? But since you are just using a stick during the practice, it's a form of practice. If you notice, I'm sure for the viewers notice that first hit by Grandmaster Randy is he first actually hitting the stick. But in real, I'm sure in real scenario, that first hit itself is directly hit to the hand, right? I'm sure that how the training orientation. Am I right, Sir Paul?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Espe- yeah,
so
correct, Doctor.
so that means this the training itself. We're just showing them, how the flow of training and how they do the training for the safety of both your partner
Yeah.
and for himself as one was practicing. So again, the as the first orientation as the was Grandmaster that has been said by Grandmaster Randy is, of course, you first hit the hand holding the stick. So again, the representation of the first strike, which of his first block, which is directly hitting your stick, means if in actual fight using the blade, he actually hitting the hand. Okay, so
Defanging the snake.
correct, yes,
We
yes,
call it defanging the snake.
yes,
Yeah.
and showing the counter.
Yeah, that's what they say here. The old master say, if you defang the snake, you only have a very long worm. It's no longer a snake.
Correct, yes, yes,
Yeah. So I think we'll go back the pouch
yes,
deception. I think that's more so. I think this is more of fainting and
yes, yeah.
faking. Yeah.
Fake,
Okay.
yeah. Bait.
Okay.
Okay, let's see
Okay.
how.
Hi, welcome back to First Strike. At this point, Grandmaster Randy is going to show us the deception of Yasi Sable.
Okay, so just like in the summary, it is called that if you want to hit the east, you strike the west. So allow me to explain. For example, fighting position. Okay, this is called the setup. So the setup can be done by looking at your target, looking at your target. That makes your opponent think that you're going to strike this one. So he would expect that you're going to hit that one. Okay, stationary pace. Okay, so make him think that you're going to strike this one, and then suddenly shift on the other side. Okay, so this is called deception. Some would think that because deception allows optical illusion in usage. So your opponent think that my stick is moving towards the target, but actually it is an optical illusion. It is my elbow and my arms doing the shortcut like this. So with this deception, so your opponent might think that this is your target, but actually I will hit this one. Okay, again. In Sable, the principle is hit but don't get hit. That is why if you can observe, when I deliver the strike, right away, I move from the area to get away from the possible counter strike by my opponent. So that would be the basic strike, get away, or deliver another, we call this as an ambush, a bait. So slow, strike, get away, boom! So another strike delivered to expect that there might be a counter from your opponent. Okay, again, boom! Okay, so that's one practice where deception can be observed. Another, the facial expression. Again, I'll use the setup, fighting stance. Again, I'll use the setup. So I'm moving. The logo of Yasi Sable is the snake. So still, the principle is making your opponent go with you. So this is the setup. Let me, or allow me to show you. This time, I'm going to strike the lower extremities, the leg. Okay? So, I will make my opponent think that I'm going to strike this one. So, I fake on this one, but I deliver the strike. Let me explain. Most strikes or players and arnisadors would deliver the strike. The tendency of the opponent, if the strike is going from this area or side or direction going to the target, the tendency is to retrieve the leg backward. You see? So, the span of time of delivery is lengthened, ginapalawig, because it follows. Now, this is the ambush or the setup. Because my strike to the lower extremity or the leg comes from the backside. So, if the opponent retrieves his leg, what his leg would encounter is my coming strike. See? So, I'll show you the physics. See? Again. See? And then, always deliver the ambush. That is the counter. Expecting that your opponent might deliver something. Again. So you step back, but it is in just one motion. You step back, but still, you deliver the counter. This is in sable, the final strike or the pamatay. So you deliver the counter, back, strike, boom! This is the final strike. Why? Most people died because of puncture wounds. Delivered by stabs. Not by slash. Or slice or cut.
So you believe that the thrust is deadlier than the slash?
Yes. Because the physics and the science. That is why you will identify a pure subleader because of his placement and positioning. Most people would give this one in their position. Pure subleaders would hide their heart, giving the optical illusion a little space for opponent to work. Giving only the shoulder. See? So usually a subleader would position like this. See? Actually, this is deception to get the attention of the opponent from the angle that I am creating. So, I do this trick, the facial expression, the deception. See? So, my opponent would only look at my face and my weapon. Yes, this is a preparation. If needed, the moment he moves, boom! Still in trust. So, done, boom. Okay. So, still that is deception. Another deception that can't be observed right away. This is cutting the distance in order to deliver the speed or to have the speed. So, you move in positioning your feet wider than usual. So your opponent might think that you're just preparing. So he's looking in your stick and your facial expression. He doesn't observe that as you are making here, the back foot now is adjusting to have balance, center weight, to have angle, like this. So I'm going to cut the distance because my opponent usually moves backward. So I'm going to cut the distance. See? Now I'm preparing. Second. Now I have an angle. So this is the defense. This is the attack. So, again. Angle. Okay, that is deception. Another. An isablador might appear weakened. Weakened. Just like this. Boom! The first time I went to Ramontoras National High School as a trainer, my students, my players could not understand what I'm doing. But actually, it is called deception. You pretend first
But you're tired.
you're in dramatic function. Boom! See? I remember way back 3 or 4 years ago, one of my players that was Tungko, the twin brother, the kapit, he deceived his opponent. He positioned like this, and then he turned away. Then he returned. Then get away. Then he returned. Boom! So that was a deception.
That was the point.
Yes, that was the point. See? Meaning, he pretended that is going away. But actually, that was the shoulder rule movement. The positioning of the feet actually did not leave the area.
So essentially here you see that much of the gameplay of Yasai Sabe is really in deception.
Yes.
It doesn't even have a lot to do with the drills or the techniques.
That's why we need practice. Application most of
Deception.
yes.
So essentially, it is a practice not only of stick fighting, but more importantly, its emphasis on deception.
Deception.
So anyway, GM Randy, thank you very much for sharing to us the
Yes.
techniques of Yasai Sable. When we come back, we will have Sir Ryan Martir, the coach of the winningest team in Negros Occidental.
So there you have it talked about.
Yes.
So they really devote a lot of time on sparring and those faking things. When I was there, I see them doing a lot of fakes. No?
The deception, the deception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the deception thing. It's,
Yeah, it's
you know,
happening.
when you look at it and when you face them, it's a little bit funny because they look sneaky.
Correct.
Yeah,
But
you
sometimes
know,
it's useful
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
one thing that will help our athletes, especially our athletes, it's not actually for those who are on the combat, but
Yeah.
for the athlete. They are making themselves feel easy at the same time. You know, the mobility helps a lot of those body movements, the deception movements that what we have watched from Grandmaster Alvarado was actually a very good techniques for those who are just simply there to hit and hit. But this time, you know, it's actually showing us. Actually, he's revealing us this their secret techniques in fighting. So, but you know, there's no such thing as secret here. There's a lot of things here. Is you have to do practice, and of course, sometimes it always goes with how your body react and how your body
Yes.
will complement to the technique. So again, those techniques that was shown to us are at least it was actually in detail was explained by Grandmaster Randy. You know,
Alvarado. Yeah.
if you go back to his first statement, his father and his uncle are actually, I mean, his lolo are actually practicing while you know, in the evening while the moon is in the full moon. Why? Because as he said, during those times and the attitude of grandmasters before is just keeping their techniques, keeping their art by themselves. Correct?
Mhm.
But this time, in the modern
Surely,
times, since we are already in the modern times in cross culture and cross techniques, we are now have that so-called multi-system techniques. Now, here comes another a Yasai Sable uh, inherit, meaning practitioner, or of
yes.
course inherit from his grandfather, that showing us why, and now the secret are being open to the
Yeah.
public, and that's
Very
how
nice
the
guy.
beauty, correct. So I think the good thing that we have this program is we are not just we are just unpacking, actually unpacking
Yes.
those other still
Right word.
techniques. Yes, the techniques from our grandmasters, who are just simply keep on developing it by themselves in the countryside, especially in
Yeah.
Negros. We understand Negros has a lot of, or we're rich of grandmasters are still doing some innovations of their styles. But by the way, before we continue, I think we still have one more video, or one or two more video. Let's thank first our give
Answers.
thanks to our sponsors, right? The Tumandok Handicrafts, and of course
Gcash.
Gcash and Seaoil.
Seaoil.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Thank you
hopefully,
very much.
yes, you should thank you, and of course shout out to our viewers like Ma'am Pauline from Benguet, Real Rodeo, Grandmaster Real Rodeo of LA. We have yan, of course, other or watching with our shows right now. So again, one thing that I will always remember with this episode is the term deception. Deception means, the deceptions that you are practicing cannot be, get it and just simply watch and think it right now. But why our guest is actually very much confident in saying that this technique is very special, because the techniques was not actually practicing in just one day. It's
Yeah.
continuously practicing. That's why he can, you know, still look.
Effortlessly.
Yes, yes, and that's why he has confidence to say that's this effective, and I believe that's effective. And the key here is, of course, continuous practice, continuous swing your sticks. Okay, so
Yeah.
what's next, Serbot?
Yeah. Let's go to our next interviewee, Master Brian Martir.
Yes.
Okay.
Hi. At this point, in first strike,
Okay, good.
we would like to introduce to you the winningest coach of Negros Occidental as far as Arnis is concerned, Guro, Master Brian Martir. Sir, welcome to First Strike. Okay, sir. Let's just talk about Babo. A lot of people are asking, what makes the Babo City Arnis team so successful? What are the things that you do to make this team win a lot of awards?
Actually, Sir Bot, there are a lot of factors that have contributed to the winnings of the team. But of all these factors, one stands out,
Which is?
which is starting way back 2013, we started the Yasi Sable system.
The system. So it was one of the ingredients. Well, okay. In your experience, what made it so appealing to tournaments, the style?
Okay, as I can still recall, that's way back 2013 up to pre-pandemic time, the year 2019. Competition started in the Department of Education Sports, which is padded stick competition.
But it's the
It was only lately that we have the continuous strike competition using the live stick.
lifestyle.
Now, going back to the padded stick competition, the rule is very simple. The first to hit gets the score. In a sense, first to hit means you hit and you get the point.
Okay.
It was like the discussion I've seen and I've heard from Grandmaster Randy Alvarado that the concept of their system is to hit first
Hit first.
and not to be hit.
Okay, so as much as possible, you program your players as much as possible not to be hit.
Yeah, of course.
And should practice a lot to hit the opponent. So So essentially, that is the mindset.
That is the mindset.
Now let's talk about Sir Brian Martir. How demanding is Sir Brian Martir as a coach?
Okay. Now,
Is Sir Brian Martir a strict coach?
as a coach, I know that my fellow coaches all over the Philippines, maybe, or outside the Philippines, would agree that being strict in training is important. It is a must. But along with this strictness also comes other values and virtues. You must also be flexible at times. You must be concerned with your athletes. So, but sticking to the word strict, yes,
Very
I am
strict.
strict because if you want to win to the top, you must be strict. You must
So-
observe your routines. You must observe your practice time, and you must observe rules.
Discipline.
Discipline.
So here we have it. The byword in training, no matter what, the ingredients to success, discipline, diligence
Diligence.
to practice. Okay, sir, can you describe to me the typical day of an arbizador of Bago City? When it comes to training, like how much time do they spend in order to be where they are now?
Our students, our athletes, are mostly school-based.
School-based.
What I mean is they are enrolled in our school. So basically, they're students, they're attending classes. So our practice time, when it's the start of the school year, they have classes in the morning and in the afternoon. So our schedule would be after their classes in the afternoon.
And that is how many hours?
Let's say some other programs may be dismissed in their classes at around 4:30. Others are dismissed at around 3:30. So we start right away.
Wow, 3:30 until?
3:30 until 5. If others are coming at 4 until 6. So basically they will have 1.5 to 2 hours of training daily.
Essentially, 1 to 2.5 hours of continuous sparring, as GM Randy said. So that is how demanding the training here in Babo is. That's why they're really tough to beat. Now, sir, I would just like to ask, I understand that there is also a very great support from the parents as far as the teaching
Of
concerned.
course. In any other sporting events, parental support or the support of parents is very important. One thing is, our athletes are tired in training. Our athletes need nourishment. Our athletes need comfort and assurance. As coaches, we can give it to them, but we cannot replace the parental love and support they have. So the support system that our athletes have is a big factor also in our success.
Sir, I understand that people here in Baguio say that despite your being strict, you also tend to be liberal as far as techniques are concerned, especially in the anyo. People say that you give your players the chance to express themselves the way they want to.
Of course.
And it's not that you just follow me all the time.
Yeah.
So would you like to react to
Okay,
that?
with regards to that, we always see to it that we as coaches, our trainers, Randy and Wilson, and my co-coach, Sir Ruel, with our chaperone, Ma'am Stella, and the rest of the members of the team, see to it that everyone has the voice. Everyone has got to say something. Now, say for example, we have this routine for our anyo, for our form. We practice it, and then we choreograph it in such a way that it is creative and appealing, and it is competitive. We can use it for higher competitions. Now, if the students do the routine, if the athletes, our ambassadors do it, we will ask their feedback. What can you say about that? Maybe they will say, sometimes they say, sir, this is awkward. Sir, can you change it? And then we will be very glad to say, very good. Thanks for the feedback. So, what can you suggest? Then the students would say, sir, can we do this? Try it. We'll watch. We'll look. And if they do it, execute it properly, and it's good, we'll say, put it in our routine.
And I understand that the brother of GM Randy, Wilson, Alvarado used to play an active role in ANI also.
Yeah.
And sir, I understand that the city provided you with some sort of a training area also here.
Yes, sir.
So that's nice here. They have especially assigned training area here in Mago devoted only for armies.
Sir God, I would like also to take the opportunity and to emphasize that for a coach, we were blessed with parental support. We were blessed with talents and skills of our students, our misadors, and most importantly, we were blessed with the support of our local government. We were given matics. We were given padded sticks, armors, and a place to practice. Essentially, the
equipments.
Yeah, the equipments we need are given to us.
So there you have it, folks. The recipe for success in Anis. When we come back, Sir Brian is going to introduce us to his top players who is going to perform for us. Okay, stay with us. We will have more of Sir Brian.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
So, Doctor,
Yes.
so I think again, no, you notice parental support, support of the local government, very important.
I think
Yeah.
Sir Brian is discussing about how he develops the team of Bago
Yeah.
in his school. I think Sir Brian is a teacher, right? He's a coach.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Including Sir Randy is an English teacher. His brother is
They're
also
both
an English,
teachers.
English teacher.
Okay.
Oh.
Good. At least we understand and I understand them because
We,
I
we
am also
speak the same language.
we speak the same language. By the way, Sir Bot, no, I just want to shout out yung because I feel to say earlier the marketing manager of Sticks is actually watching us. So hopefully in
Yes.
the future Sticks will be part of our program, right? So we're talking that maybe later or in the future Sticks will be part of this program also. Likewise, shout out to Sir Pineda, coach of female players of RTNS SS, and of course Sir Brian Martir. We have here Sir Tom Serapia from of course the Alco Olympics gold medalist, and the rest are actually here watching with us. Okay, so this time, of course, to add on with what Sir Martir is saying, that's actually the components on how you can maintain your athletes. Now, from of course, if you notice, we have here transition from the combative form, using it into sports techniques and inspective, right? Because his players produces a lot of gold medalists in different competitions. So, since I just want to go with what Sir Randy is saying, Sir Martir, Brian is saying, with regards to the support needed for the athletes. I'm sure this is one factor that some of our, of course, supporters maybe support our athletes to really improve our Filipino martial arts in terms of sports. Okay, so in fact, some of our episodes already we show some sports competitions, online competitions. Maybe in the future, we can also plug in here some sports competition, the actual competition maybe as we go along with this program. So, in other words, those factors that have been discussed by Sir Brian are necessary, especially for coaches in the school level, because we understand that the system here in the Philippines, especially in the Philippines, since we are developing the sports, is very hard in terms of grouping your athletes, especially the young ones, and there are some mixtures of other sports that they are into, like other martial arts like taekwondo, karate, judo, and others. And comes the online games. That's another factor wherein you can it's very hard to recruit more athletes nowadays to turn into Filipino martial arts. But of course, we thank those dedicated coaches like Sir Brian. I'm sure we meet already in some competitions or maybe in seminars, because I am part of the system of their work also. So maybe in the future, if not now, maybe in the future we'll meet personally and discuss more things about how the development of Filipino martial arts are niche in terms of competition. So maybe in the future we also we will also guest here the pillars of Palarong Pambansa Arnis competitions. I'm sure I can tap them maybe in the future. But for now, we will just continue with those grandmasters first. To introduce
I would
to
just like
our
to add,
viewers. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Because,
you know, sir,
of course,
I would just like to add,
yes.
Dr. Paul Motita is popular here in Negros.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But of course, I said maybe in the future. In the future, we will also discuss how sports are being developed in the Department of Education, because as Sir Bot, we cannot deny the fact that the Department of Education really made a lot of things in order for the sports to really grow here in the Philippines. And in abroad, it's partly growing because our athletes from Palarong Pambansa since 2009, 2005 until now are now, some of them are already instructors and competing outside for the competitions. Okay? So, Sir Bot?
Let's proceed to the players.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to showcase their skills.
Okay, okay. Let's see the
Okay.
next.
Yes, sir.
Friends, I would like to introduce to you some of our bipedal
These are training
athletes and
skills.
accomplished
Let's see.
athletes in
Then
the
next.
Alvarado Yasi Sablé Arnis Club. First and foremost, our first ever gold medalist in the Palarong Pambansa way back 2015 in Tagum City, Davao del Norte. Our gold medalist in Anyo, we have Christian Reyes. Goy! Spo! Kayo! Gusto espada! Hoy! Ah! Cha! 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 Po! I am honored to introduce to you our two most bemedaled athletes in Negros Occidental, the first ever Palarong Pambansa in Arnis Secondary Boys medalist in Laguna City way back 2014. We have Joran Paul Pangcubela. And next is our two-time Palarong Pambansa gold medalist. A gold medalist in Legazpi Albay and a gold medalist in Antique. We have Jonary Garcia. We will have our next accomplished athlete, a female athlete of the Yasi Sablé Arnis Club. We have Ella Alvarado, our gold medalist in the national encounter way back 2017 and a silver medalist in the world encounter in Arnis. We have Ella Alvarado.
Okay,
Okay.
so the top players. You
Yeah.
know, the top, sometimes when I watch those Anyo players, remind me of those historical juramentados.
Yeah. But in fact, that's one thing that maybe an add-on for the beauty of the art. But one thing that I observed in the performance of the athletes was actually their number one, their the techniques that what Jim Alvarado discussing earlier are actually they are using it for the practice in forms of practicing it in combative, I mean, in labanan, In
Yeah.
the other one, what I recognize is of course those athletes performing the forms. They're not actually fan of using fancy. It's not a fancy move. It's actually actual performance because nowadays, as you said, some of the performance of athletes are more on fan of doing hormentados, which I think there's no much techniques than these athletes who are showing what really the techniques are. I believe that's a very good arts. And, when I judge or I was invited as judge in different competitions, I cannot be like being amazed of those shouting like those like hormentados. I'm not fan of it, but I'm always look into, especially those our viewers, what I am look into is how they deliver the technique properly with caution, of course, and of course with safety. Especially if you see some of the videos, they are actually performing a miniature of a live blade of a blade, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's actually a miniature, but of course, even though you are performing the miniature of the blade, you should be careful of not hitting yourself. Maybe you're just performing it, showing your technique, but you are not actually showing it to hit your opponent, but hitting yourself. So that's
Yes.
the safety. Uh, uh, that's the safety concern that the athlete
Yes.
when doing the anyo that they have they should be very careful kasi one thing especially for our listeners or real our listeners who are watching or who are doing some judging, they actually as we discussed, we focus much on the technique and skills itself. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And in a real life situation, that will cause self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
Uh, yeah. So anyway,
So
but now it's really nice to see these things again. No, I think we will have more. No, maybe next time let's feature again the other places. We have players from this one. Let's ask them to showcase also their clubs because it's nice that people are now opening up and sharing.
correct,
I think we really have a pool of talents and a pool of knowledge through our program First Strike.
correct.
This is a very
So
nice venue to showcase. Yeah.
actually, it's good that our friends or my friends and most of those friends are actually their attitude, the concept of their groups in Negros now that the Mostadors is actually they're not they are now on the open mind
Yes.
world. I mean in the system, so they are sharing each other from I think the systems like for this day. A style will showcase his style and let other practice the same day with the other day every sessions that they are doing are just a sharing of techniques, and that's very good. That's a good gesture, especially nowadays that we are now in the so-called multi system martial arts, not only in Arnis because we have a lot of systems and styles. So maybe I'm not saying it maybe there are some styles there or not maybe if you this is not exclusive for most of those I'm just giving you an idea what the monsters are doing, and if there are some grandmasters who are willing to share their style, their techniques, and discuss it here with our All Play Network First Strike, then they are welcome. Actually, just message me, message the both, of course,
Yes.
message any staff of our All Play Network, and of course the First Strike group. So
Yes.
we will discuss and maybe we will set up some times and we will have some interviews with you
Yes,
maybe.
sir.
So I think that's this is an invitation actually. Yes, sir. But
Yes, I also would like to thank the city of Babo and Sir Peregrine for letting us use the venue. Very nice place.
yes,
It's a
very
very
good
nice
place. Yeah.
place. And of course, the Bago City, Alvarado, Yasi Sabli team, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you can show us more of your techniques that we can share to others. Oh,
Correct,
by the way,
correct.
they're also very active in Tapado.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
that's
last
one.
time I went there, they were practicing Tapado also.
Correct.
Yeah.
You will not just you should not be practicing more on your style itself.
Mhm.
You welcome others. See, it's welcome others. So I think I can't wait that this pandemic will stop now. Maybe I wish and I pray that pandemic will stop so that I can fly to Bacolod and play with these friends. They're waiting
Yes.
for me. They're actually waiting.
A
Some
lot
messaging,
of them.
sir, come here. Yeah. So
A
maybe in
lot
the
of them are
future,
waiting for you.
yeah, in the future we will see them, and I will love to practice to learn different styles, different system of arnis in
Yes.
Bacolod. I know
Yes.
when the first time I been in Bacolod, I forgot the year, but lots of grandmaster I already met already. But since limited time, I don't have time to practice. I'm still young during that time, you know. Uh, I'm just keen of observing them first, but later, you know, they become friends. They become my
Yes.
friends now. So maybe, Sir Bot, in the future, I will also have time to practice there. And
Yes.
thank you very much to our viewers for your time. Of course, here we have here Duram Paul, Christian Reyes, yan, and others who are watching with us. So again, Sir Bot, this is, I think, our time is already soon to end. By the way,
Yes.
before this program again will end, thank you very much to our viewers. Thank you very much to my group in Pickup Northern Luzon, my
Mhm.
directors and directors and coordinators. Thank you very much, my friends and family in Pickup Board. And of course, the International Mothers Federation, all members of IMAP, my brothers and sisters, IMAP in Benguet, IMAP in Masbate, IMAP in San Juan, and different parts of the Philippines. Of course, in Negros, with Bacolod, and IMAP here in Iloilo province, in different parts of Panay Island, Guimaras, and different here in Manila, Taguig, of course, Cavite, with Benico Puntas. We have IMAP in Region 8, Samar, Leyte. Of course, in Cebu, we have IMAP in Cebu. We have in Zamboanga. Yan. So I said, thank you very much for watching and following us. And of course, thank you very much sa Grandmaster Rene Tongson, Bambit Tulay, and of course, Master General Rilos from UAE, and Master Rodolfo Poblacion. Thank you very much for watching. And thank you very much to all who are there. Of course, our staff, our members of the team in EPN,
The
of course,
APN team.
Ems, yeah, Ems, and of course, Just Dulay, our technical man. Thank you very much. And again, of course, my assistant here, Rose Bernadette. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Maybe in the future he will join here in the time
Again.
that we're busy, because actually her class already started, so that's why it's scheduled every Saturday. That's why sometimes he cannot join us. But anyway, thank you very much once again, and I continue, Sir Bot. See you
Yes, sir.
in the next episodes, and maybe another exciting Grandmasters will be come out in
Yeah.
next week. And again, I say thank you very much for watching, and once again, mag-arnis po tayo. Sir Bot?
Yeah. Yes, I would just like to ask our brothers and sisters all over the Philippines, please stay with us here at First Strike. We're very happy to feature you. Again, yung mga pickup na minention ni Sir Doctor, please send in the materials. Let's try to expose them so that everybody will see it and they will also get to know you. And again, I would like to thank the City of Bago, Secretary Green, GM Alvarado, GM Wilson Alvarado, his brother, Master Brian Martial, and of course the parents and the Bago City and his team. Thank you very much for joining us in First Strike, and I hope this is a tribute to Paterno Yasi, the developer of Yasi Sable. So with that, again, we will see you in our next episode here on First Strike, and as Doc Paul said, mag-alis tayo. So, until next time, bye!